Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Today we are going to host a program, Natural Civilization, and today we will host the topic on Arakan issue. This is the very important issue of the Rohingya refugees who are living in Arakan, what we are known, or we already know, the Rakhine state. The Rakhine state is located in Myanmar, which is the neighboring state of Bangladesh. And even if we know about Myanmar, they are the neighboring state of China and India. The Rohingya refugees, what we know, they are the most persecuted Muslim refugees in the world. Today we will talk about them, and we will know this how the Rohingya history, we will know about the Rohingya policy, we will know about the background of Rohingya, why this kind of ethnic cleansing happening in Myanmar. We also know why the Rohingya people are coming to Bangladesh, and we will know what the international responses towards Rohingya, especially the how Turkey sees the Rohingya people, how they are doing the humanitarian activities for Rohingya people. And as refugees, the Rohingya people from Myanmar, they have a long history of facing discrimination and violence at home, especially in their country. And what we know, this Rakhine state is actually formal, that's we say this Arakan, normally people say Burma, and this is situated in western coast. It's bordered by Chin state to the north, Magad region, and Yerwade region to the east, and the Bay of Bengal of west, and the Chittagong division of Bangladesh to the northwest. Even the Arakan, that's what the Rohingya people are called in historically. There was a mountain named the Arakan that separated Rakhine state from central Burma. So like today we have a guest, three guests as you see. Like we have the Rohingya, he himself, Ong Nai Swai. Welcome to our program Natural Civilization. And we have a Rohingya expert actually who is working on Rohingya issue, Saeyd Rashed Hasan Chowdury. And we have a journalist from Bangladesh who is working on Rohingya issue, Mobassera Jahan Fatima. Welcome to our program. Before starting to our program, I would like to ask Mr. Wang Nai Soy, if you could kindly tell us, because you are the only one as a Rohingya in our program, I mean, how you see this the issue of Rohingya, and especially about yourself as a Rohingya, what kind of problem you are facing in your country, Myanmar? If you could kindly tell us about your story.
Okay, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you for inviting me here. Also, I didn't get this type of privileged opportunity in my past time. So it is very great for me. Also, I can explain regarding about our topic. So in our country, yes, there is several type of happening violence against and against. Because there is 135 ethnicity in the community, but the government did not call us as the Rohingya, for example. They are not considered one of the country's official ethnic group as a Rohingya community in Myanmar since 1982 citizenship law, which has effectively made us stateless.
Okay.
So also there is other 135 ethnicity community, but also they are not get any freedom. For example, they get some freedom, not the like as other country. So actually, our situation is very critical. We are not getting any type of opportunity, even basic right, even we cannot study fully, even we cannot do anything, even we cannot move one village to another village. If we go one village to another village, we need a recommendation letter from the immigration of Burmese government. Even we cannot take more than 2 or 3 children. Even we cannot marry without taking any permission. This type of situation make us very vulnerable day by day. So yeah, just like this.
So for example, like you came to Bangladesh as a refugee, if I'm not wrong. And I see like your name is Ong Nang Shuai. Yes. Even also you have a Muslim name. I mean like
yes, my Muslim name is Abdu.
So could you please tell us the story why you have a double name? I mean like Ong Nang Shuai and also Abdu Shukkur. I mean, is there any reasons this kind of names?
Yes, there is several reasons. Actually, the teacher of a school and university cannot call clearly our Rohingya name because they are not familiar Rohingya dialogue. This is one reason. And the second reason is that when they call our Muslim name in the class, the rest of the students laughing and also making just joking or just they're making funny with our name. And that's why also sometimes they ignore our Muslim name. That's why this situation forced to keep 2 names continuously at the same time.
I just want to ask you, the Mr. Rashed, about you say this Ong Nang Shuai, like Abdu Shukkur, he said about the reason in Myanmar, how they are facing the problem in Myanmar. So like you are really working on Rohingya, and as I follow, like you also published a recent article on Rohingya issue. So how do you see like the history of Rohingya? I mean like for example, how Myanmar government sees Rohingya people and how the responses of Bangladesh government and also international from historical background.
Thanks a lot for your opportunity. First of all, I would like to tell about these matters. For example, behind humanitarian security, you mentioned that last 2 months ago I have been published in one article, the article of my humanitarian security, internal external dynamics behind the Muslim Rohingya Refugee Crisis. At the time I have taken the case study, the role of Turkey and Bangladesh as well. At the time, for example, as a researcher, I have taken some interview from Rohingya brothers and sisters from the Myanmar and Rakhine state. At the time, I have discovered some issue behind these matters. For example, first of all, I would like to say about these matters, this situation or this crisis has been started more than 300 years ago. Not, for example, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. This situation or this crisis has been started like 300 years ago. If you say the history of Rohingya or Arakan state, for example, 1825, we have seen that England first time have gone to there, and the England occupied this situation, this region of Arakan. After we have seen 15 years later, Japan also has gone there, and Japan also occupied the region of Rohingya.
So before England, I mean like Arakan was the independent state.
Yeah, of course, of course. For example, Arakan, if you know about these matters, Arakan is the name of Arabic. If you say, for example, Rokon in Arabic word, Arakan, what is the meaning this? Arakan is the part of the Islamic. At this time, for example, if we see the situation of 1700 years, at the time we have seen Arakan is the Islamic realm, Islamic country at the time. But more than 100 years later, first time England, second time Japan, and another time England, another time, last of all, India has gone there and they has occupied. This is another problem.
So like the Bangladesh, for example, now Rohingya refugees, they are coming to Bangladesh. Even Myanmar government, they said these people, I mean the Rohingya, they came actually from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
They are not actually our people. I mean they are not. So how you can? I mean, how do you find in your academic area? Like, is it true, or how you can explain?
For example, at the present time, if we see the present politics in the world, if we say, for example, United Kingdom as well, United States, Russia and China, and as well India, also are directly stalking with the supporting to Myanmar government because of their self-interest. This is the main problem. You mentioned that previous times. For example, Arakan is one of kind of the region. It's so much crucial and momentous region of this region. For this reason, every country, like most prominent country in the world, are going there and they are occupied this region because their self-interest. For example, if you know, at this area, there are so much natural resources. There are so much diamonds. There are so much, for example, another iron, coal, petroleum also. For this reason, every country are interested to occupy this region, and they are controlling to the South Asian country. For example, this area is so much complex situation of the South Asia. At the time, for example, every country are interested to going there, and they are occupied this not only South Asia but also Australia, and you know the Bab el Mandeb also in Africa, because it's so much important area in the South Asian region.
I have a question to Wang Nai. So I actually, as I know this, there even the Myanmar government, they are not interested to call them a Rohingya. I mean, like, how you can explain, like, why Myanmar government don't want to call you a Rohingya? What's the reason?
Yeah, I think the reason they make one convention 1982 citizenship law. According to this law, they deny our Rohingya name. So that's why they didn't call our name as a Rohingya. But before 1982, before independence 1948, we get independent in our country from the British colonies. But at that time, everywhere, Rohingya, every government, every official name, the Rohingya, even our ID card, even identity card has also they mention Rohingya. And our Rohingya transcript is still remaining some type of Buddhist monastery. Actually, this is not monastery, some type of monument, ancient place. There is still some type of transcript remaining. Also, there is some type of sentence as a Rohingya. But after that, in 1982, they denying systematically. First of all, they stop our calling the name, and then they stop hiring Rohingya people to the government, like as the teaching, like as the some type of government activity job. They are not hiring the Rohingya people. But before 1982, our Rohingya people involve every activities of the government.
So, like, okay, this is the situation. The government are doing these kind of things, but we see the general people of Myanmar, like,
yes,
why they are supporting then their government. I mean, this kind of persecution. I mean, they say the whole world are against this. The whole world is talking about against this. The United Nations have a statement against this. The European Union have a statement. The Turkey itself, they have a very strong voice against this kind of persecution. So, like, how you see, I mean, like, the general people of Myanmar,
yes,
I mean, do they support this kind of, how we can say the United Nations say the textbook example of ethnic cleansing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how the general people see this, the Myanmar general people?
Yeah, the general people also, actually, I am the witness of genocide.
Yeah, of course, you are the Rohingya and you are living in
because
Myanmar.
I recently come from the Myanmar after complete 2017, August 25. So at that time also the Burmese military set by fire the village one by one. Even a lot of people inside of the home, they abandon, and even the pregnant woman, and they rape our sister and mother, and they selected our people. So that's why generally people inside the Burma and outside of the Burma, they are seeing still going genocide there. I don't think it will stop.
But do they support it? I mean, like the people, general people of Myanmar citizens, do they support it?
Supporting to Myanmar government?
No, support Myanmar government. Like, what are they doing on you? I mean, like Rohingya people, how we can say, killing, murdering people, raping women. Do they support it? Or how do they see it? I mean, the general people of Myanmar.
general people actually they have nothing to do something to take action against the Burmese government. Just their heart and they see, just they keep silent because they have no any power, anything to do.
But I want to mention one thing. For example, you know, Myanmar is a Buddhist country. Like 90%, more than 90% are
Yes.
Buddhist at the country. This is the main problem. For example, Buddhists are told that in this country only we are holding this country. We are not giving the opportunity or providing this opportunity to the another guys or Muslims and another things. For this reason, we have seen only for 4% of the Muslim in this Myanmar. This is the main problem. For this reason, general people do not demonstrate against the government because general people also think that this country will remain as a Buddhist country. This country will be holding as a Buddhist identity. This is the main fact, I think.
Okay, so like you want to say it's one kind of religious thing?
Yeah,
I mean,
course.
like the fact. So, like, of course, you also mentioned about the thing that in Arakan, I mean, there's Rakhine state, they have a huge resources. I mean,
Yeah,
important resources like those kind of stuff actually make a attraction from India or China. I mean, so how do you explain those kind of stuff even in the time? Like, okay, so in one hand, the peoples are Buddhist and that's why they think like, okay, the Muslim and they came from Bangladesh. And on the other hand, there is some international actors, I mean, like regional actors, China or India. So how do you see like the China and India? Do they have any real interest in there?
Of course. For example, if I say last year, 2017, 2 years ago, when this situation, this crisis has been continuing at the situation, we have seen more than 10,000 people have been slaughtered massacred by the Myanmar government. At the time, you see, for example, I have seen the one interview in Al Jazeera. At the time, 29 September 2017, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, has traveled to the Myanmar. This situation, this is the main fact. Another problem is that, for example, China is also much more interested in going there because China at the present time, if we see that China's situation, China is founding One Belt, One Road. It's so much popular thing at the South Asia. For this reason, within 2030,
even they have, I think, corridor. I mean, in Myanmar, Bangladesh, India, they have one corridor, and China, they have another corridor. I mean, towards Pakistan. What we know about CPAC, China-Pakistan corridor. Okay. And even also you say like the Narendra Modi, he went to Myanmar in the time of violence. It means actually he has actually with Myanmar government to say something against this violence and conflict. By the way, I have a really important question to Mobassera about the issue, like how the Bangladeshi media, I mean the Bangladeshi media, especially we know this media, if we say there is three kinds of media like print, electronic and social media. The first thing, could you please tell us like how Bangladeshi media representing Rohingya issue in Bangladesh? Because as we know, almost 1 million Rohingya refugees now in Bangladesh, they are living in Bangladesh. So it's a really huge. It's still Bangladesh, they have 160 million people. So how you can explain these issues, how Bangladeshi people sees through their media?
Thank you. Actually, at first we can say that what is the role of the media in this Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh. We know that when the Rohingya crisis is not a new thing or new issue in our country or in this region, it's have been from, as our friend said, through 3,000 years ago. So like in 72 and in 1980, in 2005, they have a flow from Myanmar to Bangladesh all the time because of their ignorance to their citizenship and ethnicity and so on. So especially the issue was brought to the agenda in the world media in 2017, last week of the August. And you can notice that when the media was the main factor who focused this issue, the humanitarian issue, as a humanitarian issue in the world media. So I think inform the people about the sufferings of the Rohingya people, media plays an important role, not only in Bangladesh, also in world media. As I analysis the Bangladesh media on that time, especially 2017 August, 2017 and last week of the August, I saw that most of the mainstream media focus the humanitarian story of related to the Rohingya people who are waiting in the border, because at that time Bangladesh government was not allowing them to enter in Bangladesh. So it was an interesting thing that all the journalists, all the newspaper, mainstream media focuses on the humanitarian stories about like what the sufferings of the mother pregnant women. I can call about this, the pregnant woman who was forced to suffer these things, like how the Bangladeshi people without this, as Bangladesh government don't accept them, but the people in of this state, they help the Rohingya people actually.
So like we can say like the general people of Bangladesh, they are in this issue they are really generous. They accept them. They accept them as like, okay, you are in a trouble situation, so you can come here. Even we know that Bangladesh is a huge populated country, but in the meantime they also
accept. Problem we are not economically that much developed, but rather than our people always all the time show their like friendly attitude to the people. And as I told you, it's not only the mainstream media, also the social media played a vital role for this issue, because you know that when something happened, it's it's media who can spread this issue to the world and to the people. So I think media played an important role, and it was a good role. So still now they continue their rule.
But however, Abdu Shukkur, could you please tell us, like, your leader, I mean the Myanmar, the Prime Minister of Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi, she is the Peace Prize winner, I mean Nobel Peace Prize winner. That's a really huge thing. I mean she fight for democracy for a long time, and it's really, I mean, like, worldwide, I mean, she was the really acceptable leader. So she is now the Prime Minister of Myanmar. In the meantime, it is happening in Myanmar. So, like, how do you see, like, the Myanmar, I mean, the Aung San Suu Kyi is, I mean, how she is actually looking this genocide or this violence?
Actually, this is a critical situation, critical problem. For example, a few minutes ago our sister told, for example, this is the Rohingya issue is not a new issue. This is very old, because this is they are doing systematically genocide a long time ago. So during Aung San Suu Kyi under sentence before 2010. We also pray for her when Aung San Suu Kyi released from the sentence, released from the jail. We will get our right. We can do something. Maybe we can get some type of right, at least basic right, just like this. When she released last 2010, and then she get a high position, and then she is ruling the Myanmar government. She is the leader of a National Democratic Party. So finally we are just seeing she is doing nothing.
Like, is it because like there is some stuff, because we know like there is a military things that she has a pressure from military.
Also she has power. Also she is ruling. The military is not doing themselves. Also the military also collaborate and negotiate with her. At least the military discuss with her. She can give advice to the military, whatever, into the parliamentary, wherever. Also, I saw some of the video to her interview on censorship when someone also questioned this question to her, why you are not doing something for the Rohingya people? These people are destitute people around the world like this. Also, she told that she explained to the people like this. Yes, don't see to my father. My father is one of the independent hero in the Myanmar. Don't see my father. I should see my law and regulation. I should do something. Yeah, I accept her sentence. Yeah, if she would like to see her law and regulation, she can maintain. She can how shall I say? She can prepare something for the Rohingya, for the something. Just she's doing nothing also. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
exactly.
right.
I mean, like even that long history. I mean, historically.
For example, I also include some issue. For example, if you see the history of Myanmar in 1942, at the time, for example, one massacre has been started at the time, and more than 10,000 people has been slaughtered, massacred by the Myanmar government. After we have seen, for example, 1948, Myanmar government also independent. After we have seen, there is no difference between previous times and to
recent times.
After, for example, in 1962, we have seen the operation of Dragon operation against only for Muslims, against only for Rohingya ethnicity. This is another problem. For example, we have seen the 1772. Another situation has been continuing in the situation. In 2002, in the recent times, to 21st century, main problem has been started in the Myanmar government. For example, 10 people has been slaughtered by the police. At the time, they are protesting against the government. After government and army as well as police has been continued to the arresting and also oppressed to the most of the Rohingya people. 2012.
I have a question for all of you. Because they said like these people are coming from Bangladesh and they are living here and they are not our people. I mean, they are not our citizens. They are from Bangladesh and they should be in Bangladesh. So how do you see? I mean, like what actually from historical or academically said? Are they really came from Bangladesh or no? Actually, they are the indigenous people of Myanmar. How do you?
Yeah, in my opinion, for example, I explained about this in 80th centuries. The Myanmar government at the time, Myanmar government are saying they are Khulas, and another identity. At the present time, they are saying the Rohingya. Another time they are saying Arakan Muslims. Another time they are saying Bengalis. But if you see the history, more than 100 years ago, we have seen they are saying the Khulas, another identity at the situation. In my perspective, for example, Myanmar also saying, because in my opinion, Myanmar also Buddhist country, 90% Buddhist. This is the main factor. They do not interested to demand with the Muslim, do not demand to stay with the Muslim. This is the main problem. For example, last year we have seen another problems. Hindu minority also oppressed by the Myanmar government. For this reason, they are not only against the Muslims, they are all against only Hindu as well as another minorities. This is another problem.
Okay, so for example, we can see.
I can add something too. You said that is there Bengalis or something else. Actually, the country, the Arakan state, it was occupied by at first the British government, and then the Japan. And as I read the history, they said that when the British government came, the Arakan people support the British government. So that's why it's a conflict to the Buddhist of this Myanmar. They think that Muslims were just support the occupation of the British, so they don't have any right to stay here, and before the occupation of this state, like the British, the Japan, Arakan was always a glorious region in the history. Actually, before the Buddhists came to the region, it was governed by the Muslims. Muslims minority, especially the Muslims. Arakan was, know from this map, Arakan is so nearer to Chittagong state, like now the Chittagong in Bangladesh. So I think it's normal. We have some
culture,
intercultural relations.
Relations. Also that time, as I'm from Chittagong, so I know that that time people went to the Myanmar or
Rakhine state.
Rangoon. That time they called it Rangoon for business, and they have a lot of business between two countries, the two region. So it was common that time for Bangladeshi people to go to the Myanmar, and the Myanmar people come to the Bangladesh. It was normal, but the situation was horrible when Japan was occupied the Myanmar, and Japan was mainly the Buddhist.
Yeah.
Buddhist region. So Buddhists were powerful after that. So they thought that it should be it should be owned by only by Buddhist. Muslim minorities, they should not stay here. And especially as our friend said, they have some rights actually. Before 1982, when they passed the
citizenship law before passing the system.
Yes, they have all kind of special facilities in that time. They can even they can own a job in the government state even that time. But after the citizenship law, they hold all the what it say. All the right of them,
basic rights, fundamental rights, the laws there. But I have another Abdu Shukkur about then when we are talking about Arakan, it's the independent states. It's really they have a glorious history. So, but could you please tell us some you have some historian or writer or you have a poet, or do you have any kind of things that shows you was independent? I mean you was really part of Myanmar. I mean, do you have any famous person in your region that people know very much?
Yes, exactly. Why not? Historically, our Rohingya community was staying in the Arakan state during 7th century. So at that time, our Rohingya is there. Every country and every famous writer, everyone know.
As we know about for example, is very famous writer. No. I mean, he has a lot of books.
So I would like to highlight one thing. During 1948 independent time, the General Bush, at that time, the Aung San Suu Kyi's father. Aung San, his name is Aung San, he is our general hero. So at that time, also one of our Muslim, his name is Abdu, he participated with him, and then they get independent at that time. Also he is our historically a famous person, Muslim. Also he worked with them. So also
I want to, because our time is going to finish, I want the last two questions I just want to ask you. The first one is because you are also living in Turkey, and thus about Rashed and also the Mobassera, you are now also working and studying in Turkey. I mean, Turkey, they are really, they have a gorgeous voice against this persecution, this genocide. I mean they are helping so much to Rohingya people in especially in camp in Bangladesh. How do you see the Turkey? I mean, what kind of things they did till now?
For example, at the present time, since 90, Turkey has started to support the Bangladesh government. But at the present time, I want to say, first of all, I want to thanks to Turkish government for supporting when we have faced a lot of problems this crisis. Turkish government has so much supported to the Bangladesh government. At the time, for example, 19 December 2017, the wife of President Erdogan, Yildirim, has visited to the Bangladesh. And we have seen, for example, August 17, the Binali Yildirim, at the time Prime Minister of Turkey, he has also visited the Bangladesh, and Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, he has also visited the Bangladesh, and another guy, so much prominent guy in the Turkey, there are so much prominent guys.
Even the wife of her, the
Yes,
President of
visited.
Turkey,
Yeah, of
Emine
course,
Erdogan,
of course,
she
of course.
went there and she.
Yeah, of course.
It shows that they give this issue as a priority. So that's why instead of they have more than 3 million refugees from Syria,
Almost
they-
5
yes,
actually.
Yeah, of course, of
yes,
course.
they open their hand to help these people.
I think
It's
they
an
understand the
amazing
reality
thing.
because if we see the Bangladesh actually was alone in this situation,
course.
and
Yes.
the Turkey shows their first hand to help
Generosity.
Bangladesh
Yeah,
in
of
this
course.
situation. Even we can say actually Turkey understands the situation because they are actually facing this
Yeah, of
Yes.
issue.
Miserable
When
situation.
our neighbor country, India or China, they just silence about this issue, like they pretend that nothing's happening. It's not our issue, but it's not all about what it said in our issue. It's actually a world issue now. So
Yeah.
we should speak about these things and we should do something to solve this problem. Actually, I'm so much conscious about these things. Yes, we support these people. We can they can stay in our country for maybe short time, but how it will be? As Bangladesh is not a developed country, we can't provide all kind of facilities to those people. So I think the Myanmar government should do something, and also the world community should force the government to solve this issue.
Actually, there are a lot of, the repatriation agreement between Myanmar and Bangladesh. So in that issue, Abdu, what do you think? What could be the, future for Rohingya, and how we can solve? How do you think the solution for this conflict or violence?
Yeah, according to my experience, I don't think the Burmese government will do a better repatriation, because also after conflict, the Burmese government announced we will bring them, we will give them a safe zone, we will give their village, we will give their home. They are just talking.
But it's
when
not
to sign.
trustable
But they are
idea,
not, yeah, that's why I don't think the repatriation will be good.
But also, I have also question. You from Bangladesh journalist, and you also from expert of Rohingya issue. That's Bangladesh government. The Prime Minister of Bangladesh said they want to make a safe
Of
zone.
course,
What
yeah.
kind of things you feel what kind of safe zone can be possible solution for Rohingya?
For example, Bangladesh has so much more than 163 million people, only for a small country. This is the main problem in Bangladesh perspective. As our Prime Minister has mentioned that we will provide safe zone in Rohingya people, but more than 2 million people are staying in the Cox's Bazar area and camp at the Bangladesh perspective. For example, how much we will provide this opportunity? I think it's quite impossible to the Bangladesh government, also Bangladeshi people, but we are supporting to remain these problems. For example, I think United Nations and also another organization like OIC should strong against this problem and to the embargo to the Myanmar government. I think it would be a solution. It would be solved to the crisis in this Myanmar.
We would like to back our country. We would not like to stay long time in the Bangladesh, but unfortunately we don't know how long we should stay there. We would like to go to back as soon as we can.
Okay, anything? So do you want to? Do you think that the safe zone is good idea?
As they told, actually, I don't see Myanmar government show there enough interest to solve this issue, because they said a lot of things, but in the scenario they don't put anything to solve this issue. As we are already overpopulated country, we can support them for short time, but for long time it's impossible for our country or also for our government. So
Even
I
for
think,
Turkey or
yes,
whoever
also those
international.
people, it's I think a bad condition for those people. They are staying in teeny place. They have limited facilities.
of course.
The children who are born there, they need good accommodation. They need education, right? but I don't know how we will handle these things. So I think all of us, we should shout about these things to also create pressure to the Myanmar government to solve what it say, reliable solution for this issue, not a show up. We will solve this. Not like that.
Just I would like wanting to request.
Very short. 10
yes,
seconds.
it's very short. Just to international community and the Turkish government. Just 1.2 million Rohingya people in the refugee camp. So there is some medical NGO, but NGO is not enough for the people because there are more people. So I would like to request to organize some of medical NGO to get better treatment to the refugee in the refugee camp.
Turkish, Tika, Turkish, Turkish
there is some medical
Red
NGO.
Crescent, they're working huge. Even Turkish government, like Afad, they're working huge.
They work, very
it's
good.
Really great, help from Turkish side. Anyway, thank you. Mobassera, Jahan, Abdu Shukkur, what's the name, Ong Nai Shuai, and also Saeyd Rashidul Hasan. Thank you for coming here and to talk about the world most persecuted refugees, Rohingya. Thank you so much, and thank you our viewers. We hope so we will meet with you the next episode in our natural civilization at Natural TV. Thank you so much.